Travis King. I'm 17 years old. Today is September 24th, 2017. I'm speaking with my father, Stephen King, and we are recording this in Springfield, Missouri. Can you describe your marriage proposal?
Yeah, I can. It's kind of corny, but I'll back up. I had an old 260Z Datsun that got broken into in my driveway, and they tore it up pretty bad. And the insurance check that I got was a little over $2,000, and I fixed my car completely myself, other than one of the windows that got broke. And I had $1,500 left and bought your mom a ring. I had it for about 2 weeks and had it on the end of my pinky finger for about 4 hours while I was around your mother, and your mother never did notice that I had it on my finger. And I had the ring box, and I sat down on the end of her bed. She was laying in her bedroom, and I handed it to her and said, I'd like you to be my wife someday. So it doesn't mean I want to get married tomorrow, but I'd like to get married sometime in the future. So this is a promise that I want to marry you. And she opened it up, and I had a note in there that said, look at my finger. And I've been wearing it. Of course, your grandma Shirlene, I had to go in and ask her permission because I did not, her daddy wasn't really around much. So I asked Shirlene if it was okay if I could marry her daughter.
How long were you guys?
3 years.
3 years. 3 years until you got married.
It'd probably have been about 20 years unless your mother would have made a date and said we're going to get married on March 4th of 1989.
And
okay?
The day you got married was kind of crazy, right? Weather-wise.
We had almost 16 inches of snow on top of about an inch of ice.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of people that couldn't come because of the weather, but
That's
we did
awesome.
it. And your mamaw actually asked your mama, are you sure you want to do this because of the weather? And yes, it pissed off your mother.
How was your career to where you got now? How did you start out working and get to where you are?
Well, I was 16 years old and started a part-time job. My parents didn't have a whole lot of money. I had to do what it was to put gas in my car and pay for my insurance and feel good about myself. But I didn't know I was going to be a dry cleaner. I really didn't. I mean, I was a pianist. I played the piano. Thought maybe someday I might be able to play in a band someday. I started that, and I think your papa will contest. He, being an engineer himself, he taught me how to put a nail in wood and how to cut boards and learn how to fix things yourself and figure it out. Process of elimination and figure something out. Fix it. And fortunately, my boss at the time seen that I could do that.
Working at Vogue?
Yeah, working at the dry cleaners.
That wasn't your first job though, right? Your first one, you were a dishwasher, right? For a very short period of time?
For about 2 months until I cut the tendon on one of my pinkies on a serrated butter knife. That was my last day of the job. I had to have it fixed. I couldn't work in the dishwasher department anymore. Actually, I had a job before that too, doing kind of another dishwasher job and bussing tables, but I lied about my age, and I was 15 at the time and worked with your uncle for about 6 months until the place fired everybody. And that's when I went and worked at the other restaurant and did that.
And then after that, you started at Vogue when you were
Yeah.
16.
I was actually going to the lake with some buddies and stopped by there in a pair of shorts and a ratty t-shirt and said, hey, I'm here to talk with Inga and see about a job interview. And she looked at me and said, "I'll show you what you'll be doing." So I obviously got the job, and I stayed there. I told my buddies, "Hey, you guys can go to the lake without me. I'm going to stay here and learn some stuff." Pissed off my buddies, and they took off, and I stayed there for about 3 hours that day, and she showed me some things, and I started the next day. You know, my boss used to call me or call the attendance office at school and get me out of work.
Get me out to work, or get you out of school to work?
Get me out of school to go to work. He was the greatest because I was making money, and he'd say, "Hey, I need this young man to come in. Can he come in a little earlier?" You know, and of course I had a what do you call it, a study hour, or you know, where you can
like
go
an off
just,
block.
Yeah. I guess I don't know what you guys call it.
I think it would be like a
It was called study hall.
study hall. Yeah, study
We'd
hall.
have like an hour, and it was always like towards the end, and he would get me out of my study hall. It wasn't like I was missing a class or anything, but still, he would get me out of school early, and I would go to work. And I'll tell you, Travis, I worked, you know, as a part-time kid until my senior year, and I was full-time while I was going to school.
Senior year?
I started saving my money, and I'd stay up at work until about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, checking in clothes, and I'd work those 8-hour shifts when I got out of school, and I'd work on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays if we didn't get caught up. And luckily for me, Tom decided to make me more than what it was. It wasn't just like overnight. I didn't have my own store until I'd worked there for 15 years. And so, well, about 14 and a half. And then I proved to him that I could run a store. And
That was a Fremont,
lot of
right?
money.
Was that Fremont?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what year did you open up Fremont?
I was in 95.
95.
So,
So what? How old were you? 30 or 20? Late 20s, early 30s.
well, you know how old I am. I'm 50,
50,
so
right.
subtract that, it's been open for 22 years. So I was 28 when we opened up that store.
Okay, 28. Opened it. When did you? Was there ever an official date where like Tom?
Actually, I should say that we're almost 23, so I was 20. Let's see, I just turned 26. Is that right? 26 or 27. Anyway, go ahead.
Was there ever an official date where Tom was just kind of like, you run everything now, or is it just slowly over time he kind of worked his way out of?
I was already doing payroll when I opened up that store, and so it's been. He retired right at when I was 30, and so he said, "It's yours."